Hey guys, so for my second paper, I wrote about three different situations that have I've witnessed or that have happened to me. So for the first one, I talked about behavioral compensation, which is how people behave when they expect to encounter a discrimination. So I have a cousin who's obese, and when we all hang around, we always make fun of him. Well, not me, but others make fun of him, and they start making like fat jokes and start, teasing him. And sometimes I feel like it hurts his feelings, which I know it does, but he doesn't really show it. So when he knows that we're going to start talking about his weight or people are going to start making fun of him, it's embarrassing and it's humiliating. So in order for him to prevent that, he also makes fun of people who are overweight, and he makes fun of himself. So I think that's a behavior um that well, it's a certain skill that he developed to achieve um his desired outcome, which is to not be humiliated or embarrassed in front of everybody. So he uses humor. So he makes fun of himself when people are making fun of himself. The other thing I talked about is personal group discrepancy. So this is that people believe that their group as a whole is more likely to be discriminated against than by themselves individually. And I see this all the time. Like, for example, my mom, she's Mexican, she's full-blooded Mexican, but she doesn't fit the description of one. She is light complected, blonde hair, colored eyes. So she doesn't look like most Mexicans do, or the stereotype. So we've all noticed that when she's by herself, like, she gets treated differently. People expect her to speak English because she looks like she could speak English. But then when we're all in a family, and then they don't treat her like how they would individually. So she thinks that because of her looks, she is treated differently by herself. But when she's in a group with, family or people from the same race as her, she is treated just discriminated against just because of who she's with. So that was it. And then for the last one, I talked about microaggressions, which are small, like everyday verbal or nonverbal behaviors that demean other social groups or members of a certain social group. So for this one, it's kind of harder to explain like what it means. So usually these behaviors are not hostile. Like, they're not intended to be hostile, and the receiver knows that. But for example, so I had moved to a new neighborhood. It was mostly all white neighborhood, and one day I was riding my bike and I was going around, and I seen my new neighbors outside, so of course I said hello and I waved. But instead of them saying hello back or waving or doing any type of gesture, they, when like you're scared and you grab your stuff tightly, like, like if someone's going to steal them from you, like you're just ready, like you're secure. That's what they did. Like, instead of them saying hi to me, like, they just looked at me with a straight face, and they grabbed their belongings, and they pulled their dog towards them, and then they were just looking like, I don't know how to explain it, like if I were to steal from them, or if they were scared of me, or if I was like some type of threat. So they I don't know, they just made me feel really uncomfortable, and I think they would do this all the time was because of my race. Like, they would stereotype me, and I don't know, it was just weird. Um but yeah, I know they didn't mean it like in a hostile way. Like, they wouldn't do anything, you know, any crazy behavior, but they would just do like little microaggressions that, that made me feel bad because of this. Well, they did it because of the social group that I am part of, which is, or my race. Um, but yeah, those are the three that I talked about. I know the last one was really confusing. I know it's so hard to explain, but I hope you guys understand it. And I look forward to what you guys have to say in your videos.